What's going on? Welcome back to the another new Western Star movie review podcast on the Iona WICR radio station. I am your host, Hunter West. As usual, if you are new here, I do movie reviews every Wednesday at 12 and talk about the latest news, TV, anything, all that sort of nature in an hour short time. I do this every weekend at 12, and if you are new, come down and visit once in a while. I'm always curious to see what you guys have to think. If you want to type in the comments, whatever, that's fine. So this weekend, we're going to be talking about 4 movies. I finally have an opportunity to review 4 movies. I think I did it last time, but that was a long time ago. But I finally have an opportunity to review 4 movies. I could have done 6 um, from Tuesday and Monday. Because Tuesday I didn't have any courses that day, so I was off scot free. But I decided not to. I think it's a little bit too much. But I have 4 movies to review: the epic Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, the somewhat weird Spiderhead, very weird Spiderhead actually, the great drama biopic of basketball in Hustle, starring Adam Sandler, and a great revenge story in Do Revenge. Finally, I'm able to check out Do Revenge, and also a new review of the Wilds episodes. I'm always curious to hear about that. And let's get started with the movie reviews. Have to pull out the information on my phone, of course. So let's get into it and talk about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I keep hearing that weird voice or that weird sound, but here we go. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Now, um if you saw my ranking of the whole movies I've seen, I ranked Thor: Love and Thunder. I gave it a C, and I gave Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness B. And those were very anticipated films. They made a lot of money in previews, but they didn't make a lot. They didn't make $1 billion, and that's because I think people in the second weekend of release kind of saw what they were. People were like, it's not what you think. It's not Cameo Palooza and Doctor Strange, or it's not a good movie in Thor: Love and Thunder. It just wasn't that. So that's, I think, there's the huge decline. And I think that's the reason why none of those movies made $1 billion. Now, this movie, opposed to that, has good word of mouth, and I think can make $1 billion and be the next Marvel movie to do that. So, what did I think of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever? Well, first of all, they had a huge thing to talk about. Number one, you don't have your lead star. Number two, you don't have your main character, and you're kind of in the middle of a phase that's still struggling to figure out where it is. And I'm happy to say that Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is, my opinion, the best Marvel movie of the 3, and probably one of the top 10 best Marvel movies, I think, of all time. I was blown away by what they were able to do with Black Panther: Wakanda Forever and everything that they had to do. Obviously the struggles of the fact that they didn't have their main star, Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. They didn't have Now they had to rewrite the script because apparently Ryan Coogler already had done a script. He already had a script for Black Panther 2. Obviously, he had to rewrite the whole thing and think of a new script that would honor the legacy of T'Challa, but also honoring the legacy of Chadwick Boseman. And I just think that this movie did a fantastic job of doing it. I really am just blown away by the fact that this was a movie that was able to figure out a way to swerve out all those bad expectations of people saying, well, the movie's gonna suck because it doesn't have Chadwick Boseman and it's not a Black Panther movie. They were able to do that. The performances in the movie are incredible. You know, Letitia Wright is stepping up as the stronghold. She's the main character of this. She's dealing with the grief of the death of her brother, Shuri. She is great in this movie. She also has a lot of strong emotional moments. She carries the movie. really hard. Okoye, I forget the Danny Akura. I gotta look up the name again. I'm sorry. Uh, Dini Gurira. She was great as well. She has a lot more to do with this, and it's interesting how this movie, with the first Black Panther, it was never kind of like sidelined because they were the side characters, and you had obviously Chadwick Boseman, Michael B. Jordan, and sometimes you had Shuri. This movie has all those side characters kind of in the main lead now. So Danny Gurira has more screen time. Winston Duke has more screen time, who is awesome and funny. Lupita Nyong'o is great in this movie as well. But Tenoch Huerta, who plays Namor, is perfect casting. He kind of Namor is a character that's kind of like of a native background, and he fits that role so well. He he's really powerful. Like you see, like this guy's like, oh, he's kind of peaceful, but then he's like, no, uh, he kind of is the the villain in this movie. I feel like he isn't as strong as Killmonger, but that doesn't matter because he's still really good in the movie. But Angela Bassett in this entire film is the standout to me. She delivers every line. She commands almost every single emotion. She gives it her best, and she is easily the best actor in this movie. All the acting is great. The direction from uh, Cooler is great. The production design is awesome. The final battle scene as well does not feature that much CGI. I mean, it could be CGI, but the last Black Panther, the problem with the last Black Panther movie, and why I think they're so similar to each other, but one edges out the other, is because the last act of Black Panther 1 featured a lot of CGI rubber suits for the Black Panther versus Killmonger, and it looked unfinished and it didn't look good. I didn't notice it until later on, years after watching it, that there was that noticeable CGI. And so I never really cared that much, but I noticed it. Then you have the action sequences are so good. They're filmed beautifully. They know how to make good action scenes because it works. And I think that if you are somebody who was not a fan of the action sequences in the first Black Panther, this is one that I think is going to work. This is going to tremendously work for you. The production design, like I said, the cast performances are great. The emotional weight is awesome. You instantly are hooked. Like the opening of this movie alone got me crying. Like I cried at least 3 times in this movie. The beginning, there's a part in the middle that got me, and the ending. It's all very emotional. Um, the tribute to Bozeman is well known here. They give a lot of time to do that, and it works. The musical story is fantastic in this movie. Like it is fantastic. I mean, from what do you have? There's a scene that's underwater, and then a song plays, and it was like, wow, this is so cool, you know. And it's a lot. It's really good. It's really good. I can't really praise this movie enough. It is incredible. Like it is incredible, and I really enjoyed it. And what was so good about the movie is that it pretty much broke the November opening weekend record ever with $181.3 million. That's what you get. Like, and this is a very similar movie to Furious 7, where where Paul Walker died during production. This guy, Chadwick Boseman, died before the movie even was out, and then they had to redo the whole thing. So they didn't know what they were going for. and they did a fantastic job. The movie made $84 million on its opening weekend, the second biggest of the year, 28 million from Thursday previews. Um, third biggest opening during the pandemic era behind Doctor Strange with 187, and then you got No Way Home, Spider-Man with 260. I really thought this movie was going to crack 200, but it didn't. Um, and so yeah, I really love this movie. It did everything I wanted it to. It honored the legacy. It was emotional. It worked for everything that this movie was going for, and I love it. On a scale of overall, I'm gonna give this scene an A, flat A. On an entertainment scale, it's a 9.5 out of 10. The only problem I had with the movie is that is there 10 minutes of this movie that feels like it could be trimmed out? Yes, this is a 2 hour and 41 minute long movie. It can have easily been like 2 hours and 20 minutes or 2 hours and 30, but I think it needed to be this long to really help the story out. So I'm going to give this movie an A. It is a 9.5 out of 10, and this is a movie you need to see right now. Like, if you did not see it opening weekend because tickets were packed and everything was sold out, go see this movie right now. You will not be disappointed. With that said, let's move on to the next movie on the list, and that is Hustle. Hustle is a movie that stars Adam Sandler. It's produced by Adam Sandler, and it's produced by LeBron James. It stars Adam Sandler, Queen Latifah, Juanito Gomez, Ben Foster, Kenny Smith, Anthony Edwards, and Robert Duvall. Um, and it pretty much goes this story about there's a scout, NBA scout, who it works for the Philadelphia 76ers, and he wants to get the next big player, like the next biggest guy, to be in the NBA, and he's working for this guy. And then obviously things happen later on, and then he goes to Spain to discover this young kid who plays street basketball, and instantly he is like, yeah, this guy's gonna be the next big star in the NBA. And he tries to prepare him for the NBA draft, and luckily, what do you know? It's a natural basketball player. It's not a fake one. And I this movie came out in June. Came out on June 8th on Netflix. And so I was I was always interested in this movie, just kind of like the idea that they were going to make a basketball movie about, the NBA draft, and Adam Sandler. This is a passionate project for Adam Sandler because he kind of is basketball is his favorite sport. So I was really interested to see how he would do with this. And it's always hard, when basketball players have to act, but this movie did everything I wanted it to, and I love it. It's again another movie that I really enjoyed. Adam Sandler is this is probably the best performance of his besides Uncut Gems and The Wedding Singer. This is his best performance I've seen. He really nailed it. I think that he did a great job as this scout for the 76ers. Queen Latifah plays his wife. Queen Latifah is always good. I love Queen Latifah. Juanito Gomez is actually um the uh plays Bo Cruz, who's kind of like the guy from Spain, and he's currently right now in the NBA. He's number 41 on the Toronto Raptors, and he is a power forward. He was originally he was in the NBA draft in 2016. He was a first round pick. He was picked 15 overall, selected by the Denver Nuggets. So he played for the Denver Nuggets 4 years. Then he played for the Timberwolves. Then he played on the Boston Celtics, which was, I guess, where they filmed this movie. Then they had to go to San Antonio. I think he moved to San Antonio. I think he was in a trade with Derek White. And then he went to the Utah Jazz. Um, and then he is on the now he's on the Raptors. So, and you think like, oh, this guy's not going to be able to carry it. No, he carries it. He's really good in the movie. It really is good. Um, Kenny Smith is plays Leon Rich. He is a sports agent and he's really good friend, and he's kind of like the guy to support him, and it's really good. The chemistry between all these players is great. There's some actual really good basketball players that are sponsored in cameos, like Trey Young, Jordan Clarkson, Chris Middleton, Aaron Gordon, Kyle Lowry, Seth Curry, Luka Doncic, Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, Matthias Thybulle, Aaron Mackey, Julius Erving, Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Allen Iverson, Dirk Nowitzki, Brad Stevens, Doc Rivers, Mark Jackson, Sergio Striola, Jose Calderon, Leon Boban Marjanovic, Morris Wagner, uh, William Gomez, all these players, and you notice them, and I think that they really good. The the performances, I can't really say enough about the performances. They're just really good, and the emotional weight that this movie does is really good. Like there's this background that this boy has been through, and you just feel for this kid. And when he finally has a chance, it's kind of like a struggle because there's another kid played by Anthony Edwards who's kind of like the he's projected to be the best person in the draft, and he's kind of like the guy who's giving Bo Cruz a lot of things. It's like he's throwing him off his A game, and by the end of it, it's like he finally proves to people that he is not just afraid. He's not afraid. So this movie really was a gift for basketball fans. And I think if you're somebody who loves basketball, if you're somebody who loves Adam Sandler, I think this this movie is going to do you justice. It's going to do everything right for you. So overall, I'm going to give this thing an A minus. Um, Easily one of the better movies I've seen. It's going to be an 8.5 out of 10 for me. And this is on Netflix. It's free. You can watch it right now. And it's one of the better Netflix movies that I've seen in quite some time. And Netflix has been giving me a lot of crap movies. A movie that I can also say that is not crap is Do Revenge. Now, I think I said like a while ago that I would review this movie, but I never got the chance to do it because I didn't feel like it. But now I did. So this is a movie. It's directed by a woman named Jennifer Catlin Robinson, and who co-wrote the script. It stars Camila Mendez, Maya Hawke, Austin Abrams, Rish Shah, and Sarah Michelle Gellar. It is inspired. It's kind of inspired by Alfred Hitchcock's Stranger on the Train. It premiered on Netflix in September. And so pretty much what the movie is about is that there's this popular girl named Drea Torres. She's kind of like the perfect all end all girl, and she gets embarrassed because her boyfriend that she has kind of leaks a video of her kind of stripping. I can't say that on here, but like doing this and that, and he sends the video, and she pretty much gets embarrassed, and so she wants to get revenge on him. And there's this other girl that she meets named Eleanor, played by Maya Hawke, who, if you don't know, is from Stranger Things and is, interestingly enough, Ethan Hawke's daughter. So she is in this movie, and she's kind of like, she also has a little bit of history as well. She has a lot of, she wants to get revenge on somebody named Carissa Jones, who years ago told everybody that they started a rumor that she tried to hook up with her. And so now they're having the opportunity to get each other's revenge out. And this movie kind of plays a little bit of like Mean Girls meets, I forget what it said. Fatal Mean Girls meets Hitchcock, I think, with a little bit of a twist like that. And I really enjoyed this movie. I really did. I think that this is a really fun film. This is um this is a really enjoyable movie. This isn't a perfect film, but I think this is one of the better Netflix movies I have seen this year. Um, so first of all, get into it. The twist that they do in this movie is actually pretty good. I like the twist. I like the performances in the movie. They're really good as well. Camila Mendez, I obviously watch her from Riverdale when I used to like Riverdale. Now it's just like Sabrina meets powers and witches and Riverdale. It's like it's not the same anymore, and it's ending. I think next year. Yeah, it's next year. But yeah, that's happening. And Maya Hawke is really doing this movie. She kind of is like blending in. She's like the woman to be like, okay, I have to blend in and um be this popular girl so this guy will kind of like be in love with me. And then you find out what's really going on with the characters, and it's kind of interesting. And so I I was when I first saw the trailer for this movie, I honestly thought like this was not going to be a good movie. This was going to be a another Netflix movie that's try another teen movie with popular actors on Netflix that sucks. And it wasn't. It actually was a pretty entertaining film. Sophia Turner makes an appearance. Sarah Michelle Gellar makes a cameo in this movie. Um, it's always great to see Sarah Michelle Gellar in a movie. She is the original Daphne, and um I think that the story of this movie is really good. It drags. There's some scenes in this that I won't lie that are boring. They drag. And there's characters in this movie that play like over the top characters, so I don't it's not believable. But I will say this was a lot better than I expected. I'm gonna give this movie a B plus, an 8.5. I'll go 8.5 out of 8 out of 10. I'll go 8 out of 10 on this one. Um so I think that you made a movie like this and you instantly grab me with the performance. Like I'm instantly hooked because I care about the characters. I think the story is interesting. And the twist that they do in this movie is actually pretty good. And I'm not going to spoil it for whoever wants to watch the movie, but it's a pretty interesting twist. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. So would I recommend this movie? Absolutely recommend this movie for anybody who's involved in this sort of thing. And you just wants to watch a good Netflix movie. So go ahead. And also I would like to say that Hollywood is still doing a thing where they're hiring like 20-plus-year-old actors and actresses to play high school students, like 17-year-olds, and they look like it, but really, let's be real, they're 25. A movie that I'm really not going to talk about that much about because I have no idea what happened in this movie was a film called Spiderhead. This is another Netflix movie, three Netflix movies in a row. So Spiderhead is a movie that um is directed by Joseph Kaczynski. It's a screenplay by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, and it's from based on a dystopian short story called Escape from Spiderhead, and stars Chris Hemsworth, Miles Teller, and Journey Smollett. And the story follows inmates in a luxurious prison who participate in experiments involving mid-altering drugs. And so this movie had a lot going for it. I mean, you had the director of Top Gun Maverick, the some of the writers for Deadpool and its sequel, and it stars Chris Hemsworth and Miles Teller. And so right there, this should have been a fine movie, but honestly, I did not like this movie at all. I really didn't like it. It's kind of a weird film. It pretty much goes as like there's this company that's testing these people with these drugs, and you know, the story got confusing. Like midway through this film, it got confusing, and you're kind of like confused on like what's going on because they do a lot of these drugs, and I would say the production design is good. The set piece that they got was good as well. But the overall like tone and the vibe I got from this movie was all over the place. It's not that impressive of a film, and it's really weird because I love Top Gun. Top Gun Maverick is my favorite movie of the year, and this guy directed the same movie here. He directed this. He's the same director. So like I have no idea what happened. I really don't. And I mean at least he had Top Gun Maverick this year, but other than that, the way they do the twists in the movie and the turns that they use is silly. It feels like the film drags constantly. And I honestly can go so far to say this movie is relentlessly boring at times. It doesn't feel like the movie's taking a good turn or a bad turn. It feels like it's just like a straight line and it's not taking a turn. It's like drifting, like you drift in a car, you're swerving, you're kind of losing focus. It's like doing that, but it's not choosing which direction to go to. And it constantly does that. And by the end of the movie, it feels like it's silly. I didn't care for this movie. It's pretty forgettable. I wouldn't watch it again. I probably gonna skip through this one. Overall, D plus, 4.5 out of 4, 4.5 out of 10. 4 out of 10 actually. I'll go 4 out of 10. It's below average, or it's slightly below average. Um, so there's that. There's that news for you. And I want to get through that because I want to talk about more of The Wilds, my favorite show this year right now. We're moving on. Sorry, we're moving on to episode 2. For those of you who watched episode 1 last weekend, I'll talk about that. It was a great episode, and now we're moving on to episode 2, which focuses on Rachel Reed, played by the amazing Rain Edwards. She does a great job in this movie. And so, first of all, so the episode begins, and we are talking about we're introduced to Rachel more in depthly, and she's the twin sister of Nora Reed, played by the great Helena Howard. And so we find out the backstory that they're kind of twins. They like to compete with each other, and sometimes the parents favor one child over the other because one's like the more studious student and the other one's more athletic student. And so the other side of the spectrums don't really match up for either one. Like one of them's athletic, but I don't think they're smart. The other one's smart, but they're not that athletic. So it's kind of like oh, what if I had this, but then I don't have that? What if I had that, but I don't have this? So it's like that in a way. And then you're introduced to we're back to the scenario that she's a diver. She's a really good diver. She's practicing a lot. She's constantly pushing herself to be the best. And she's really good at it. Like I would say she's really good at it. There's a scene later on that happens, which I'll talk about later. But so we're back on the island, and we're talking, we're with these characters, and head counts off, and we notice where's Leah. So she's over there. She has a phone that was dug up by Jeanette's body, and Jeanette's the one that died last episode. And so she's like, I found this phone. This wasn't Jeanette's. This is a second phone. The fact that she didn't tell us what phone it was, something weird's going on. And so Shelby's like, well, maybe she was distraught. She didn't know what the hell she was doing. And so out of nowhere, Rachel's just like spits on the grave. And it's like, you know what? Screw her. She didn't tell us about the phone. It's like, well, why didn't you actually no? Why didn't you tell us about the phone? Why didn't you warn us? It's like, I didn't know what to do. And she kind of is like a hothead tempered girl. But that's actually Tony, not her, but she gets set off sometimes. And so we're still back to the whole thing of Tony's jealous of Shelby, and she's caring for Martha because Martha has a little bit of a sprained ankle. And so Rachel commands and is like, all right, we got to go find where we are. We got to go to the top of that mountain over there. And you're coming with us, Texas. A line again. The lines in this show are incredible. She says to her, Hey, you're coming with us, Texas. We're going up there. And so Nora wants to go, and it's like, no, you're being melodramatic. It's like, I'm not going to take you because I don't want you to come. I don't want you to always watch my back, you know? And so um, she is, they go up there and then talk about, what are your, what school are you think you're going to? And Rachel counteracts with, I already committed to Stanford. I'm not going to do that gesture because I don't think it's appropriate for that. But um, she already committed to Stanford, and so she. Well, we know this, and then we flash forward back, or we flash back to the past, and we have this meeting with Rachel and her diving coach. It's like, I'm not cutting you from the team, but I'm saying that you need to improve because she apparently is body shaming Rachel because it's like, look at, she's like, she shows a picture and it's like, look at this. You see these? You see that? That's slim. You're not slim. It's like she's like pointing out like you're not skinny. You're fat. You're a little bit fat. Yeah, she looks really skinny in this episode. And so she's constantly trying to, you know, she's not trying to overeat. She's constantly putting her finger in her mouth and puking so she gets a little bit less. And, her sister is kind of noticing it, but she's really caring about it though. So that's what it is. That's why she cares about a lot on the island, is because she's the one that's like, I want you to be good. I want you to be protected. And Rachel's like, no, I don't want to be protected. I don't want to do that. Um, so then later on, we have a lot of conversations with our other characters, funny conversations. My favorite conversation and show is like when, so we have Dot dragging up I think a raft, and she hears a noise, so she takes a rock and is like, she throws it like, ugh, to figure out what it is, and lo and behold, it's Fatten, played by the lovely and beautiful Sophia Ali, great actor, by the way, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, I didn't know you were there." And my favorite line of this is, "You gotta not throw." I'm gonna hold on a minute. I'm just gonna let me do that because I think the only way I'm gonna explain like the lines is if I just make a sound. So she says, "You need to not throw." Okay, that's not what I meant to do. But she says, "Not throw at unarmed brown people," and it kind of devolves into like a is like a, what were you doing in there? Is like, I took a piss. I didn't take a, and I will not be doing that on this island. And the banter between these characters, again, I like, the reason why this show is so good is because the banter between these characters is so funny. It's it works so well, and you're instantly hooked within these players, you know. And that's one of the main things I liked about the show is that the characters and the it's just a fun scenario. It's a fun banter. And so we go back to here. We go back to our main character Rachel in this episode, and we find out that she had a little bit of an accident. She does a diving thing where her family is like watching her from afar in the stands, and she accidentally hits her head. She's like doing a dive and she hits her head. Like, I don't know how that happens. I mean, normally when you dive and you just spin around and you land, you kind of land on her stomach. But like this girl hits her head on the board. It's like, that's insane right there. But what are you gonna do? So then we so then she gets her head hit, and then later on now we're back on the island. So they're finally up, and um they're walking up this hill, and one of them's like, Shelby's like, "No, I don't want to go. We got to stop and take a breather. Um 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 and Rachel's like, "We have to keep going." And so Shelby's like, "No, I want to do it. I'm not like you with your background." And she says like, "Whoa, that's racist." And it's like, "No, no, no, because I meant you're a world class athlete." And then Rachel's like, "Chill, I'm kidding." And it's just banter like that, like the comedy there. It's like it's funny, it's innovative, it's fresh. The writing is good. That's good writing. And then we move on to later on. We're at the top of the hill, and they were given a mirror to like signal where you are, like to shine a light. And apparently Rachel has the mirror in like she wraps her sweatshirt around her waist, and so it's like in there. And she turns around, and the mirror just goes off, and Leah's trying to like find it. She's trying to find it, and she's trying to grab it, and she almost falls off the edge. And then out of nowhere, Nora comes around, and she grabs her, and luckily they're saved. And she kind of goes on. It's like, my life is out there a million miles away, and none of you are striving to get it back, you know? And so she goes on her own, and she kind of contemplates on on the memory of when she hit her head. And Rachel is like, Nora, please get away from me, because Nora's trying to comfort her. And, this emotion from Rachel, this emotion from Rain Edwards is incredible. And so then we kind of get like a little bit of a good sibling moment between Nora and Rachel, and it works. Like it instantly worked for me. And then we kind of figure out the that by the end of it, when she's being interviewed, she kind of rolls up her sleeve, and there's a hand missing, and so we're like, whoa, what happened to her hand, bruh? And we had to know that later on in the episodes. So if you want to know what happens, you gotta watch the rest of the season, bro. You gotta watch the rest of the season, guys. That's how it works. So that's it for the episode of review of the Wilds. So um, what do I? Hold on a second. I'm just gonna look up. Okay. So I think what we can talk about next is I think I want to talk about December, because December is where every the rest of the semester ends. You get good, you get your grades, you figure out what the hell you're gonna do. Maybe winter semester, which I contemplating on doing. But that's out of the equation. What's the equation is now? What are Since we're only 1 month away from the new year, what are some of the movies you're looking forward to the most? Okay, I can honestly say that there are some movies I'm really excited to watch. Um, this next month, in the month of December. So let us talk about what are those movies? Like what are those movies that you're really excited to watch? So one of those movies that I'm excited to watch, um hold on a second. Hold on. Knives. Mystery. There we go. So there are 6 movies I'm really excited for this month, that I might want to check out. So let's move in and let's talk about what those movies are. So in weekend one, December 2nd, we have Violent Night. This is a movie that pretty much I talked about. I think one of the first episodes of this podcast is where you have this You have this Santa Claus. David Harbour plays Santa Claus, and then there's these mercenaries who come in and attack a wealthy family, and they steal money. And now they're like, "What do we do?" And so now it's like we have to save. I have to save them, and it's kind of like nobody, like John Wick meets the holidays. And I have been really excited to watch this movie. I heard it's coming out in IMAX, which I don't know if there's going to be an IMAX theater that will show this where I am. I think there's one so far that I looked up that's Kips Bay. I don't want to go to Kips Bay. I don't want to. Maybe I want to go to Kips Bay. I don't know. I never been to Kips Bay. Whatever. So that's one thing. So I'm really excited to watch that. I think I'm going to have a really good time, and it's going to be fun. The other one is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. This is a movie that has been in development. I feel like the teaser, it's been known last year. I think it was supposed to come out last year, but then it was like, no, we're going to put it on Netflix. And so this is a stop motion version of Pinocchio and like a darker version of Pinocchio. And I've heard nothing but great reviews from it. Uh, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with this movie. So I'm really pumped out to see what they're going to do with Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. I've heard nothing but great things. I've heard it's got a good score. Um, 94%. A 94%. It is a long movie, so I'm gonna be prepared for that. Next up is on the weekend of the 16th, Avatar: The Way of Water. I'm pretty sure everybody's excited for Avatar: Way of Water. I mean, it's gonna make a billion. It's gonna make $2 billion. I bet it's gonna make $2 billion. Maybe not first movie Avatar because it had got really re-releases in 3D, and so I'm I'm curious to see where they're gonna go with this movie. Um, I have it's 3 hours and 10 minutes long, so it's a long movie. It's a really long movie, and so I'm not prepared to go to the bathroom. I'm gonna go to the bathroom as soon as I'm not gonna drink anything when I get into the theater. I might, I might. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm probably just gonna just. Nah, I'm not gonna say that, but I'm gonna get some food. That's what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get food, not just popcorn. Food, like from the bar, from the concession stand, to put into my mouth. Um, then, weekend of the 23rd, you have three movies. You have I Want to Dance with Somebody, which is a new biopic based off of the life of Whitney Houston. Can't wait to see what they do with that. I think that the movie looks good. It's only in movie theaters, so that's cool to hear. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do with that. Next up is Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, which I'm excited for the most of this month, even more than Avatar. I think that I love the first Knives Out, and I think what I'm hearing from the second movie is that it's tops it. Some people say it's topping the original, some people say it doesn't top it, but it's still a great movie. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with this one. Same director, same star, Daniel Craig. I'm really excited. Then we have Babylon, which is Damien Chazelle's like original Hollywood epic. It's 3 hours and 8 minutes long, and I've heard that the first reactions have been all over the place. Some people say it's really good. Some people say it's fun. Some people say it's eh. Some people say it's bad. So I'm curious to hear what that is, and it's not playing in select theaters on Christmas time. So it's coming out worldwide on December 23rd. And then another Netflix movie that's coming out, which I have known nothing about this movie. But I know that the stars of this movie are. Hold on a minute. I know the stars of this movie are John Boyega, Teyona Paris, Jamie Foxx. Um, it's pretty much a weird sci-fi movie, but I'm down for Netflix now. I'm excited for Netflix this month because I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with their movies and see if they do well with them. So I'm really ready for these movies. I hope you guys are ready because I'm gonna get these reviews out a lot and probably catch up on the ones that I missed. So I think with all that said, I think that's gonna be it for the podcast. I don't really have anything else to talk about. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it. So thank you, Net. Tune in. I'm not gonna be here. I don't think that we have course. I don't think we go to school on Wednesday. So I think there's gonna be a lot of steps. So there's gonna be a lot. Like I'm gonna be stacked on movies to talk about. I'm gonna have to try to see 2 movies in one day. Like a lot of things are gonna happen. So with that said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And this is HJW signing off for Western Star Movie Reviews.